Hello and welcome back to Three Things with JR. I am sitting down recording this at 11:30 p.m. on Sunday, November 3rd. You will be hearing it, or you can hear this as early as Tuesday, November 5th, which is kind of a big deal for two reasons. One, and the most important one, is that it's my mother's birthday. And she's not exactly thrilled, so I'm not going to share her age with you on this show, but she's glad to be alive another day, and I'm glad she's glad to be alive another day. Mom has been doing quite well recently, been losing some weight, doing some fun things, and enjoying her life down in Florida. So I'm hoping to go see her in a couple months, maybe right after the first of the year, and looking forward to that. So that's the first thing that's happening on Tuesday, November 5th. And like I said, the most important thing. And the second most important thing is that it's election day. This whole thing, it's the beginning of the end of this whole thing. It has been a crazy election, crazier than ever. And I mean, I'm not going to talk much more about it because that's what I do on my other podcast called Small Things Considered. I host that show with Gary Hawthorne, one of my bandmates, and every episode this year we have discussed this and other political elections, presidential elections. And so if you want to know my thoughts on it, go listen to that show. I try not to do too much of that discussion on this show. On this show, I burp and leave them in. On that show, I have to edit them out. But this show isn't for that. That's what that show's about. So it's not too late to go check out Small Things Considered if you want our take on all of the crazy stuff happening in this year's presidential election. All I want to tell you for that right now is to go vote. No matter who you're going to vote for, definitely go vote. And I am quite eager to see the results of this election. It would be super sweet to have them Tuesday night, like in the olden days. Chances are that won't happen, and we'll have to wait until Wednesday or later in the week or whenever we can get a final tally. I'm just go vote. Please do it. If you know somebody that needs a ride, give them a ride, and just make it so everybody can vote. Vote early if you can. Vote. All right, that's enough of that. Here's what's going on tonight. I'm going to do a quick three things for you here in a minute, but after that, I'm going to share with you a special episode of this show from season 2. And the reason it's special is this. If you've been listening to this show the last couple episodes, you may have noticed that I have been struggling with the concept of continuing to do this show without there being a whole ton of people listening. It's not like this show has taken off. It's not like there's not 60 million other podcasts to choose from. I get that, but is it worth it? Like, do I want to keep doing this show? Out of the blue, I got a notification on Facebook. Somebody commented on something I posted. And, it made me realize that even though there may not be a ton of people listening to this show, the show makes a difference, especially when I take it outside of my simple formula, my normal comfort zone, and go out and do more with this show than just blab at you for 20 or 30 minutes. Because back in season 2 of Three Things with JR, I got the bright idea to call people out of the blue, people on my friends list on Facebook, people that I could see were online, and just ring them up using Facebook Messenger. And I use Messenger because it's on my computer and I can easily record the audio from it. So I would just call people that I thought might be fun to interview them. Maybe they could be a podcast guest without any preparation whatsoever. So I'd hit record and then I'd call them. I would tell them what we were doing, and if they were into it, we would do it. And this show, episode number 54, apparently it was a difference maker for the person I called. And when I got this comment back today, or recently, it moved me a little bit. And so let me share a little bit with you. The show was featured a guest named Michael Kurtzky, who, as you'll hear, I'm going to play the entire episode for you, so you'll get to hear all of my introductory stuff, the 3 things that were on my mind in 2021, and then my interview with Michael Kurtzky. But just the brief version is he was the audio-video guy at a movie theater here in Charlottesville, and I met him and worked with him to bring people that I train at Crutchfield to the movie theater to see how an actual movie theater works. We could draw parallels from a movie theater to a home theater because that's part of what we sell at Crutchfield. So I found this guy, befriended him, and for a couple of years we had some really fun training things happen at the Alamo Cinema Draft House here in Charlottesville. And we met a couple times outside of that and, became pretty good casual friends. And so when I saw him pop up as available on Facebook that night, whatever that was, when I recorded episode number 54, I called him up and he answered and we had a nice chat. And he's no longer worked at Alamo Draft House at that time. He was doing something different. And apparently our discussion was part of him beginning the next chapter in his life, because about a month ago, he sent me this, or he commented on it. He went back to that post from April 20th of 2021, when I put out the Facebook post announcing, hey, this next new episode features an interview with Michael Kurtzky. It was September of this year that he commented on that post, and he says, finally listening to this now. JR, this interview got me started with my newfound love of photography. You have no idea how many lives have been touched because of those pictures. Weddings, friends, family, heartbreak, travel, and so much more. When you called me, I was unsatisfied with where I was, and my life has since turned around, and now I own my own business. Thank you so much for the call. So even if that episode never went out, even if nobody listened to it, it made a difference. And that makes me pretty happy. And it also makes me want to start doing that again. So that might be season 6, which will begin with the new year, where I start calling people or having guests on the show. Because I really do enjoy talking to people, interviewing them, finding out what makes them interesting, and hopefully putting that on full display for you, the listener. So that's what I'm going to do. After I give you my 3 things for today, I'm going to play that episode, number 54, from April of 2021 in its entirety. But for now, let's do this week's 3 things.
Thing number one.
So because this Tuesday, today, if you're listening to this on the day this episode drops, it's election day. And I was thinking today, as I was talking to my daughter, Allison, who has a 6-year-old daughter, my granddaughter, Aliyah. And I was asking Allison, I said, hey, do you have a plan to vote, or have you voted already? And she said she's got a plan. She's going to go Tuesday on election day. And I said, that would be awesome. Definitely bring Aliyah with you so that she can see the process. She might seem like she's too young to get it, but let me tell you about my first remembrance of voting in any way, shape, or form. I was also 6 years old, so this would be 1980. So November of 1980, I was 6, my sister was 1, and my mom took us to go vote that day. And I remember it because this was the old voting booths, with like the little red things that you turn next to the name, and then you get the big handle, and there's a curtain that goes around you, and ka-junk, ka-junk when you move the big handle and make your vote. And I remember being in the booth with Mom for the vote. And I was 6, but somehow I had a preference for who I thought she should vote for. And it probably came from just having, dad watching the news or something on TV or whatever I saw on TV. I don't think I was reading newspapers yet at that point. And this was 1980, so there was basically newspapers and TV. But somewhere, somehow, I got it in my mind that the person to vote for was not Ronald Reagan, but indeed Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter deserved a vote, in my opinion. He deserved a second term as president. And I have no idea what it was that made me think that. I just liked him. From whatever I heard or saw, that's what I thought. So I told Mom in the voting booth, I said, "You're going to vote for Jimmy Carter?" And she said, "Nope, I'm voting for Ronald Reagan." And I remember being bummed about that. Again, don't know why. Didn't have really much in-depth knowledge of what was going on. Just knew I liked Jimmy Carter. And so I guess I've been a liberal ever since. I didn't realize or think of it that way until just today. But I've been voting or leaning Democrat for a long time. My dad, I remember really, really enjoying the Ronald Reagan presidency. I think, according to him, it was some of his most successful years as a custom residential painter. And I started thinking about the trickle-down theory of economics, which was kind of a big deal under Ronald Reagan. And it hit me that it made a lot of sense that my dad would think that the economics of Ronald Reagan and the trickle-down theory, where the rich people get tax cuts, they get to keep more of their own money, and therefore it trickles down to the rest of the population. And because my dad worked directly for very rich people, those were most of his clients, were very rich people in the DC area. And my dad was a top-end, high-end custom residential painter. He only worked for these rich people because he was in demand. Like, he was that good. Took so much pride in his work. Wouldn't allow anybody to work for him that didn't cut the mustard, and as a result, didn't have a very large crew. He didn't have 5 crews of house painters working all around, and he didn't go driving from job to job. No, he was the job. He was the guy painting the houses, doing the majority of the work. He did the estimates. He did the work. He collected the money. He did the cleanup. He did the setup. He did the prep work. There was no part of the job he couldn't do, and there was no part of the job he couldn't do it better than anybody else. And that pride in his work and his work ethic in general, I mean, people were impressed that he was a painter that didn't drink on the job, right? Like, that's all you had to do to impress people as a painter. But he was so much more than that. So he got paid really, really well by really, really wealthy people. And it was literally money trickling down from them directly to him. And so it would make sense to feel like that trickle-down economy works. I don't personally think it works well unless you're, working directly for really rich people, painting their houses, selling them yachts, leasing them Porsches, selling them directly big things. And you're going to get a lot of money from rich people, and it feels like it's trickling down. But what about the rest of everybody? Like, the people that work in McDonald's aren't benefiting much, if at all, from a trickle-down economy. The rich people probably not eating at McDonald's as much as the rest of the people. The rich people that own McDonald's, even though they're raking in the dough, are not, at least not at that time, paying their employees a very reasonable wage. They could have, right? McDonald's is making millions, if not billions of dollars every year. Is that reflected in the pay for the dude flipping the burgers and running the fry machine and all that? And all of the other entry-level workers, are they getting the benefit of the trickle down? Not likely. Not likely. if they work in a high-end restaurant, a restaurant with a maitre d' and what's the guy that tells you about the wines? I can't remember now. If the restaurant has that, those people at those restaurants are benefiting from the trickle down, right? Because they're getting tipped hundreds of dollars. Their pay is commensurate with the rich people they're serving directly. So if you're working directly with rich people, trickle down works. If not, not so much. And the majority of people are not working directly for rich people. So I don't think the trickle down works. But it's easy to see why Dad felt it did, and why the Ronald Reagan was one of our greatest presidents. And he was great in many ways, but I don't think that economic theory really holds up as the way to go. Anyway, that was a pretty deep thing won. My first vote, trickle-down economics. What? Ooh, okay. Imagine how different the world would be today if Jimmy Carter had won a second term and we didn't have Ronald Reagan as a president. I don't know. Be a whole different place right now. All right, I'm just rambling now. Let's do thing two.
Thing number two.
Oh, man. On Thursday last week, I got my second root canal. If you've been keeping up with my dental issues, I had a root canal done on one of my front two teeth, and the other day I finally had the second one done. The second one needed a specialist. It needed an endodontist because it was a tooth that had been injured years ago by my stepson's head while we were wrestling in the living room one night, and the root had calcified, so it was harder to find the root and canal that thing. And so my regular dentist attempted it and abandoned that when she couldn't find the root, and referred me to an endodontist. Finally got in, and they analyzed it and said, yep, I see why your dentist started and then stopped. I'm glad they stopped. I see your root, though. I know how to find it. We're going to go in and do it. I said, let's get it done. And I'll tell you what, man, this root canal, I'm expecting it to be worse than the first one because of its calcified, complications to the procedure. But because they were so good, this endodontist was incredible. The staff was great. The place was awesome. It was called Commonwealth Endodontics here in Charlottesville, Virginia. Highly recommend them. If you need a really tough root canal, go there. And they were in my insurance network, so it all worked out well. I almost fell asleep while they were doing the root canal. When my dentist did the first tooth, there were times when I could smell smoke from the burning and the blowtorch, and there were definitely some moments of slight discomfort. This root canal, however, I almost fell asleep during the root canal. It was so painless and easy. And I've always heard about root canals being hard to deal with, but not so in this case. So 2 root canals done, and now it's back to the dentist in another week or so to figure out what fillings need to happen, and do I get implants for this missing tooth in the front of my mouth, and such. So we're on the way to having a much healthier mouth full of teeth. Not so full, but the teeth I have. Hopefully we're getting them back on track. So there you go. That's thing 2.
Thing number 3.
Oh, man. So a couple of months ago, Kiki and I were out, and I forget what we were doing, but after we did it, we went to Ben & Jerry's and got some ice cream. This was back in the summer. And at Ben & Jerry's here in Charlottesville, on each table, they've got games like tic-tac-toe and Connect 4 and stuff like that. Well, we grabbed the Connect 4, we sat outside, and we played game after game after game of Connect 4 while we ate our ice cream. And it had been years since I've played Connect 4, but I hadn't lost my touch, apparently. My dad and I used to play this all the time. And, I just beat Kiki every single game. I think she might have won one. And it was fun playing Connect 4. I wasn't trying to embarrass her or anything like that, but it was just a thing that I dominated at Connect 4. Not long after that, She comes home with a huge, like full table-sized Connect 4 board. It's like 3 feet tall and 3 feet wide and huge pucks instead of like little chips. If you put it on your dining room table, it would go the entire width of your dining room table. And my granddaughter Aliyah was over here tonight, and she's like, "Can we play a game?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I have the perfect game." She's 6. It's the perfect age. She's played Connect 4. I didn't introduce her to it. She's already played it, so she didn't have to tell her how it works. So we got the big board out, and we started playing Connect 4, and it was awesome. And she said, "Who do you think's going to win?" And I said, "Oh, I'm going to win." And of course I did. I mean, I totally annihilated her that first game. She had no idea. When I got my 4 in a row, she's like, didn't even know, because she's 6. So we get all the pucks out and line them back up, and we play a second game. And she says, "I think I'm going to win this time." And I said, "No, you're not." And at one point I said, "Do you want me to let you win?" She's like, "Yes, of course I want you to let me win." I'm like, "I'm not going to let you win. You got to beat me fair and square." And it was about that time that she dropped in her 4th in a row. I had been apparently not paying full attention. And she didn't realize she won. I did. And I was immediately like, what the hell? You really do got to pay attention. And I wonder if it's a different thing playing against somebody who really has no strategy, right? Somebody brand new to the game of Connect 4 gets more enjoyment out of dropping the pieces down the slots than they do the actual strategy of the game. And of course, I had strategy. I was setting them up, but I wasn't paying attention. I put a piece in the wrong spot, which allowed her to pile right on top of that and get her 4 in a row. And she totally beat me in that second game. So we did play, of course, we played a third game because you can't just leave it 1-1. You got to have a best out of 3. And, well, she, unbeknownst to her, got herself one of those 3 in a row, open-ended, like if I blocked her on one end, she just had to put the 4th piece into the other end, like it was one of those, and she didn't realize it. And I did. But it was too late. I should not have let it get to that point. But when I saw it, I did not say anything. I just put a piece at one end of her 3 in a row, and she didn't notice, and she didn't put the piece in the other end of the 4 in a row. And so I did, in my opinion, redeem myself in that third game, even though I shouldn't have let her get to that point. But I did. I beat the 6-year-old, 2 out of 3. So that's a win for me. And I would be interested to see what happens if Aliyah plays Kiki. That might be fun to do. Maybe we'll try that sometime soon. All right, that's it for me. That's 3 things with JR for today. However, don't go anywhere. Right after this, I'm going to shut up here in about 10 seconds, and you're going to hear an episode from April of 2021 where I had 3 things, and I interviewed Michael Kurtzky, who has a new lease on life as a result of this episode. I hope you enjoy it. Please go vote, and we'll catch you next time. Peace out, everybody. Love you. Wow. 3 Things with JR is back. You are here. I am here. Let's do this, people. Thank you so much for listening to this show. I'm going to tell you right now, I would love it if you would tell your friends about it. I am convinced that this show is not just for people that know me anymore. The whole thing where I call people that I know but haven't spoken to in a while is going to continue. I was a little worried this week because a few weeks ago, I recorded 3 interviews in one evening, and I was like, sweet, I've got 3 weeks of podcasts in the can, baby. And so what did I do with those 3 weeks was not record any more interviews. And this is happening tonight, Monday night. And my episodes come out on Tuesdays. So this is about as fresh as it gets. I called one person tonight. They didn't answer. I called the second person and they did, and they had time to talk. And it was awesome getting reconnected with my friend Michael Kurtzky. Most of you will never have heard of that person before, but by the end of this interview, you'll wish you knew Michael Kurtzky. I met him at the Alamo Draft House. It's a movie theater chain. They opened one in Charlottesville several years ago, and it was right about that time that I was looking for a local Charlottesville movie theater that I could take my training class at work to go see it. I wanted to be able to go into the projector room. I wanted to see the inner workings of the movie theater. I wanted our sales advisors who at Crutchfield need to sell home theater. I wanted them to see what movie theaters are made of, right? The projector systems, the screen, the sound systems, the speakers, the amplifiers, the processors, the computers, all of that stuff. And I went to one local movie theater and was basically, I got blown off. I didn't go to the big mega chain movie theater here in Charlottesville, but I did stop into Alamo Draft House, and I told the nice manager lady at the front desk what I was looking for. She said, hang on, I got the right guy for you. And she went into the back and brought out Michael Kurtzky, and that's when I met him. And you'll hear more about that in the interview, but the long story short is that this guy knows movie theaters, and he is willing to show them off. He took my training class and me into the underbelly. He would take the projectors apart and clean the filaments, the pieces of glass in there that provide the color for the screen. He showed us how he sets up and calibrates the audio system in the movie theater. He also happens to be young, funny, witty, and incredibly smart, and all of those things, and the nicest person ever. And I've just, every moment I've spent with Michael has been fantastic. It's just not been anywhere near enough moments. And the fact that he was able to talk to me tonight just made me really happy. And we went a little nerdy in a couple different places, but for the most part, we kept it fun. And I think you're going to really enjoy this because he is responsible for some of the best work days I ever had, right? These were a whole work day consisted of taking my training class to a movie theater, seeing the inner workings of a movie theater, and then watching a movie for work. That was my job on those days, and I wish I had more of those days. He no longer works at Alamo Draft House anymore, and so I don't know if I'm going to be able to ever recreate that again once we are, post-pandemic, whenever that is. But the Michael Kurtzky, he's an impressive dude, and you are, I think, going to really enjoy listening to my interview with him, and man, just great. Before we get into that, I want to get into my 3 things, and then we'll do a quick ad, and then boom, Michael Kurtzky. He's going to be here. So,
Thing number 1.
My dad's ashes. I had a conversation with my dad recently, just a few days ago, about where he wants his ashes. He almost died a few months ago of the COVID. And I guess he realized that he needed to update some things, his will and all of that stuff. And so he's just putting all those things in order. He's in great health right now. He is back to helping people and painting people's houses and, probably going to be starting to mow grass here pretty soon. Like, he's got his energy back. He is mostly back from his COVID experience, which is fantastic because he seems somewhat superhuman. But he is thinking about what's going to happen when he dies, and he has let me know what he wants done with his ashes. He will be cremated, and he wants his ashes to be spread out on this little trail that he built. Now, he lived with me a few years ago. He rented a room in my house with Kiki and myself here in Free Union on this beautiful farm. And in the back end of the farm, there is a pond, and around the pond, the guy that sort of oversees the land here, worked with my dad, and they built a trail that goes kind of around the pond or the lake at the back of this property. And it's a beautiful walking trail. It's just awesome. And my dad just absolutely loved building it and loved walking on it and showing it off. And that's where he wants his ashes spread when he passes. And so I was thinking of that the other day when I got home. I got my dog out of his cage. He'd been caged up for a few hours while I was out. I knew he needed to take a walk, so I thought, yep, I'll go take my dog Scherzer for a walk on Dad's trail. And I had also just gotten a drone. And so I took my drone out and I took some video of my dad's trail and I put it all together into a YouTube video. It's about 8 minutes long. If you have any interest in watching me fly a drone badly, because I just got a drone and I'm flying it and I'm videoing his trail and I'm trying to dodge trees, I'm not always successful with that. Also, Scherzer has decided that drones are something he wants to attack. All of that made the video. If you have any interest in seeing the trail where my dad's ashes will be someday, go to YouTube and search for Eldon's Trail. Eldon is his first name, Eldon, Eldon's Trail. If you search for that, it'll be the first video that comes up. And if you watch it and you're like, okay, this is a video of a guy who doesn't know how to fly a drone, flying it on a trail. I get it. I don't need to watch 8 minutes of that. I understand, believe me. But I would suggest that you maybe fast forward and watch the last minute of the video because there is a payoff at the end. The ending is not like the rest of the video. So at least watch, get a feel for what's going on in the video, maybe then fast forward to the end. But that's what I've been thinking about these past few days. And I had a lot of fun making a drone video of my dad's trail. I thought my dad might appreciate being able to, he doesn't live here anymore. He's in Emmitsburg, Iowa, nowhere near the trail he created. I thought maybe he would enjoy anytime he wants to be able to go and take a journey down the trail he built. And so that was the purpose of the whole thing. That plus walking my dog and learning how to fly a drone. All three things done. Now it's time for
Thing number 2.
Irresistible. It's a movie. It came out last year. It was written and directed by Jon Stewart. It's on HBO Max, and it is excellent. It stars Steve Carell and Rose Byrne. Kiki and I watched it last night, and man, just a fantastic movie that tackles a lot of the problems with elections in America, and not in a preachy sort of way, but in a really fun sort of way. And I think it's Steve Carell and Rose Byrne are hilarious. The premise is hilarious. It takes place mostly in a small town in Wisconsin, and it just plays on the Wisconsin stereotypes in a fun sort of way. And it also pokes a lot of fun at the news media and the professional electioner people that run elections. That's not a word, electioner people, but you know what I'm talking about. The people that try to get us to vote for people. It's just a lot of fun at their expense, and it's really well done. I highly recommend it, and I think we need more things created by Jon Stewart in this world. He doesn't do The Daily Show anymore, but he's got something to say, and he's just found a new way to say it, and it is irresistible.
Thing number 3.
I was thinking about this in relation to Michael Kurtzky. You're going to hear in the interview coming up that he went to school for nursing and somehow ended up basically a high-end audio-video installer. He ran the audio-video presentation side of many Alamo Drafthouse movie theaters regionally here in the Mideast and D.C. and beyond. He knows a thing or two about how movies are supposed to look and sound. And he got all that sort of not because he went to school for that, but because he got a job at a movie theater in the projection booth and took it from there. And it just he didn't go about it the right way. He just made the most of an opportunity. And it's one of his passions, right? So it made me think of, because thing number 3 is supposed to be something stupid. So that's not the stupid part. I told you that part as a contrast to my first job at a movie theater. I did work in a movie theater while I was in high school. It was my second job ever. And I got fired from it. The reason I got fired was because the movie theater I worked at was this little rinky-dink theater in Tyson's Corner Mall. There's two theaters there, and this one was the tiny one that was kind of in the middle of the mall. That it was not the premier one, right? It's a big movie theater chain and all, but it was kind of down some stairs. You had to walk down there to get to it. It was kind of hidden, and it was kind of fun to work there. It was awesome. Like we had ice fights when everybody was in the movie and there was no people in the around the snack bar or whatever. We would have ice fights and popcorn fights, and we would go in and watch the movies when we were on our breaks. And the people that were there were fun. Like it was just a cool workplace. And then they closed that movie theater and opened up a bigger one across the street. And when they opened that one up, I moved over there with them and started working there. And apparently the rules changed from the little rinky-dink theater to the fancy new one. Apparently, in the new movie theater, you're not allowed to just hook your friends up with all the popcorn and drink that they can fit into their own bag and their own cup. That was actually the rule at the other theater. Is if your friends came in to watch a movie, you could give them free Coke and popcorn as long as they brought their own cup and their own bag. And so my friend Chris showed up at the new movie theater. We had assumed the rules were the same, and I hooked him up. Free popcorn, free Coke. My boss, the guy that was running the new movie theater, came over and said, "Hey, how much did you charge that person for that popcorn and that Coke?" I said, "None. He brought his own bag and his own cup. He's my friend." So I allowed him to have it for free. He said, "All right, so please hand over your jacket and your name tag, and you can leave, and we will mail you your last check." And that was it. I had to go into the movie theater and find my friend to let him know that I wasn't going to be there when he came out. He was highly upset about this, and he went over to the boss, and I told you should know my boss's name. His name was Dick Working. Like that was his name, Richard Working. And he was the guy in charge. And my friend went up to him and said, "Hey, Mr. Working, you're a dick." And he dumped the popcorn out on the floor in front of him, and we left. And so, yeah, that's pretty stupid. Stupid on my part to make that assumption. Stupid on their part to not factor in that this was the actual rule at the old place. Maybe it wasn't official, but my manager told me it was okay. And stupid on my friend's part to act out towards Dick Working in that way. So a whole lot of stupid going on in my first movie theater job experience. The complete opposite of what you're going to hear when we talk to Michael Kurtzky, which is coming up right after the break. We'll be right back.
Wake up, wake up, wake up. There's no time for play. Get up, get up, get up. It's a brand new day.
JR?
Michael Kurtzky, how are you today?
I am installing a hell of a system in a house.
What?
Yep. How you been?
I have been fantastic, my friend. Do you have a couple minutes to talk, or are you too busy?
I do have a few minutes to talk. I'm just doing some programming. What's
right.
up?
Well, I don't know if you follow my Facebook feed. I know we're friends on Facebook. I have a podcast. What I've been doing recently on my podcast is calling people that I haven't spoken with in a while out of the blue.
Oh, well, hello.
And interviewing them. So it's not live. We're recording this. And if you tell me you don't want to be on my podcast, it's as simple as not putting you on my podcast. And
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, you are?
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Michael Kurtzky.
Hello.
I met Michael at the Alamo Draft House in Charlottesville, Virginia, several years back. It was a chance meeting that has worked out wonderfully because
Literally, I happened to be there. It was like a fluke that I was even down there.
Yeah. No, I train sales advisors at Crutchfield, and I wanted to take them to a movie theater to see how real movie theater sound and video is done, so that we can translate that into home theater, which is what we sell at Crutchfield. And
Which is what I'm installing at the current moment.
and I asked whoever was at the front desk that night when I just popped into the Alamo Drafthouse movie theater. It had only been open several months in Charlottesville, and they're like, "Yes, we can do that. I've got just the guy," and you were just the guy.
Yep, and I just happened to be there just at the right time.
Because you do that for a bunch of different locations, right?
Yep, and I'm based out of DC, so being down in Charlottesville is not a normal thing.
Yeah. Do you get down to Charlottesville often anymore?
I haven't been down to Charlottesville since, goodness, July
Yeah.
of last year.
I mean,
I'm scheduled to be there on the 1st of May.
okay. Is that just because you've got so many more locations to take care of and Charlottesville's just running smooth? You don't need to be there?
No. I was laid off by Alamo Drafthouse in September.
What?
Yeah.
I did not know that. Oh my gosh.
Surprise.
Damn, dude. I am so sorry to hear that.
No, it's totally fine.
Yeah.
We went our own ways. I'm still good friends with everybody.
Right.
It's not the end of the world.
I imagine this was a painful decision they had to make because of the pandemic.
The pandemic and just some other factors, and it was the right time to part ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I mean, I love the Alamo with all my heart. I do.
Man, well, I'm so glad to hear that. So you are installing home theaters for fighters now? Is this the new job?
It's a fun thing to do at Monday at 8:45 in the evening.
Right.
So I do a lot of high-end residential and commercial AV installations.
Okay.
So that's what I'm doing right now with a company called AV Amenities. It's a very small company of like 4 or 5 of us. I joined them in October and have never looked back. It's been fantastic.
AV Amenities?
AV Amenities.
AV Amenities.
Yes.
I'm writing it down so I can Google it later and put a link to it in the show notes.
I don't know if we even have a website yet. We're spinning it up. It's a brand new company, and with some pretty swanky installs. If you get a chance, take a look at an apartment complex called Crossings DC, and we did all the amenity space audiovisual installations there, including a full QSC cinema.
Oh, nice.
Like a legitimate cinema in an apartment complex.
So like an Alamo Drafthouse for the people that live at an apartment complex.
For the tenants, and I may or may not be applying to there next week to
live there.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you're based out of the DC area?
Half of the commercial work is mostly in the Washington D.C. area. The residential work is more out in Middleburg. Currently, that's Marshall. That seems to be where I am actually in an undisclosed location.
Yeah. So you're not going to tell me the name of the writer whose house you are at installing?
Location.
An undisclosed location, but
I can tell you that. Let me flip this around here. I'm a boomer when it comes to this sort of stuff. Let's see. Nope, that's just video away. How do you flip on Facebook? Can you flip your camera around on Facebook?
You should be able to. Yeah.
There it goes. Okay. So, in his media room here, he pretty much went out and bought every old game console that you could think of.
Oh, man.
And we're putting it all into a wonderful remote control here by a company called Savant, and it's the most seamless integration I've ever seen in home theater remotes. So it's also, they have an iPhone app for everything, but all your remote controls for your Apple TV, DirecTV, lighting, shades, all of it.
Does that remote have a mute button on it?
Yes.
See, that I need that now. I just want that remote for my Apple TV. Because that's what's missing.
Well, also, this remote doesn't get lost like the Apple TV remote.
Right.
So you just hit Apple TV on it. It'll take care of switching all your inputs. And then there you go. So,
man.
And then you can just use it like a normal remote. And you can still do your Siri and everything through it. So, Savant's a fantastic company.
That's cool. I'm going to have to mention that to somebody at Crutchfield because that seems like something we should be involved with.
Yeah. It's a lovely button. It's right here. It says mute.
Oh my gosh. The Apple TV, it's so annoying. Like you can volume down all the way or you can pause.
But you can't hit mute.
You cannot mute.
So on the back end of Savant, you will go ahead and do all your programming to tie it into all your lighting, your shades, your AVRs, everything. Whether you're doing IP, RS-232, IR, doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's fantastic. So what are you doing when you're not working?
Cat sitting at the current moment.
Okay.
My aunt got deployed to Ethiopia, so I'm taking care of her kittens.
Ah.
So, and other than that, I don't know. I just there's not much to do during the pandemic.
Right.
Other really than work and just play video games with friends and stuff like that. I was lucky enough to get my COVID shots because I'm in construction.
Yeah.
So.
How
have
long?
You gotten yours?
Yes, I got my second Pfizer shot last Wednesday, so almost a week ago.
Did you have a good couple days afterwards?
Dude, I was expecting it. I even posted on Facebook when I posted that I've got my second shot. I said, "Bring on the sighties. I'm ready."
Yeah.
And here's my side effects on the second shot. My arm was a little more sore than the first time. And I would say my energy level was at about 95% of what it normally is.
That's not bad.
Other than that, no side effects. I didn't feel sick in any way, shape, or form. I was just maybe a little less energetic. And that's really it.
It's weird. I had pretty much the same experience with Pfizer. And I got my second shot on St. Patty's Day. Yeah. And I was expecting, like the whirlwind of, everything that like my mom had and my dad had. Nothing. And what seems to be a weird link between me and all my friends that have gotten it, if you smoke, you didn't get that bad of a side effect. That's correlation that does not prove causation.
No, not necessarily causation right there, no.
But I find it funny that those of us that smoke seem to have no real bad side effects.
Yeah, no, we've been preparing our bodies for this for years.
For dangerous stuff.
Yeah.
That my arm was. So.
At the in the sort of the first several months as we were getting into the pandemic, my mother was sending me links to articles, that had some shred of evidence that said that smokers were less likely to get it, or it wouldn't be as bad, things like that. She's a smoker, I'm a smoker, so we were happy to read any evidence that we might be okay with all this.
Now, I think it's there's nothing to it.
None whatsoever. None.
If anything, way more likely to die if we get COVID.
Right.
So.
Yeah. How close has COVID gotten to you? Anybody in your family? Any bad? Any?
Only one of my friends got it, and he got it through his girlfriend's parents, who are live in like Annandale.
Okay.
But we weren't really hanging out much at all during the lockdown. Once cases started spiking up again in like November and December. But I mean, before that, like in July, yeah, we went to the beach. We made sure to get tested and everything, and everyone was good. So then we rent a beach house, and then, I didn't return home to my parents for another week just to wait back until I got a negative result.
Right.
So I just hung out in the hotel. It was kind of nice. So. But no, I mean it's been a damper on social life. But things like Discord, I had no idea what Discord was before the lockdown.
I have the most rudimentary understanding of what Discord is ever. I downloaded it because of something I'm into. Disc golf. There's like a couple pretty famous disc golfers are like, get on our Discord. I'm like, what the hell is Discord? So I downloaded it. I got on it. I couldn't figure out anything, and I've never looked at it since. So what am I missing with Discord?
You are missing. Well, it depends on if your friends use it or not. So we use it as a hybrid. Did you ever use Xbox Live at all?
I've never been into video games. No, I've never owned any console.
So imagine a party line phone,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
That you can just hop on and just, if your friends are on there, you can talk to them, just have conversations just like this. And if nobody's there, then you can still join in on the chat and just see and just like at people and say, hey, get in this chat, let's talk. It's like a super easy way to do just voice calls, just to have conversations. And it also has like a Twitch thing built in, so you can stream from what you're doing on your computer to Discord, so your friends can see it, and you guys can like all watch you play a match, or you can stream video, or you can just mess around. Like I'll spin up like an old video game, right, and just stream it while drinking and playing the video game with my friends.
And so you're not doing this to gain like a wide audience. You're just doing it for people that you know. It's more like a social thing with people you know.
Like the 10 people that I know.
Okay.
It's just a hangout room for friends, basically. I don't use Discord for like big things. My older brother does. I just use it for fun with friends.
And so with Twitch, I hear people say you can get on my Twitch or whatever. And there are people trying to get millions of followers on their Twitch feed,
and
right?
some people have millions of followers off Twitch, and it's good monetary.
Yeah.
But I just do it for fun.
Gotcha. So I thought Twitch was just like a video game thing, and so of course it had zero interest for me. But there's more to it than that.
There's a lot more to it. It started as a video game thing, and then it just became general streaming.
Yeah.
Just people streaming.
And the main benefit of that one, as opposed to just any sort of like Facebook Messenger or anything like that, is that you're sharing your screen, so people can actually watch what you're doing on the computer.
It's live. It's like, imagine you and me here on this FaceTime call, but instead of using FaceTime, we just use Discord.
Mm-hmm.
And then all your other friends can join in. They can either have their camera on or not, and especially with a setup like yours. Like I've got a very similar setup. You can put some good quality audio through the whole thing.
Yeah.
So, and then you can get fancy with your camera angles or anything like that, or you can just have a regular mic and just talk. It was our version of hanging out like on a Saturday.
Right.
And we could play like board games together, or something like that.
So I spend most of my days talking to my computer and to the people on the other side of my computer, training sales advisors. It's all remote now. And so when I get home, except for podcast night, which is usually Monday nights, I'm not really looking to talk to people on my computer all that much. So for me, I'm not sure it holds much attraction at the moment. And I don't know, like I don't have any, like nobody I know is like, hey, get on my Discord or anything like that yet. So that ball hasn't swung into my realm yet.
Yeah, and it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
And I had never heard of it before until they're like, oh yeah, we've been on this thing for years. And I'm like, well, you guys have been hanging out without me, without telling me.
Right.
But no, I mean, it was COVID. When COVID hit, it was the first time I actually had a computer in my house.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bizarre statement. I usually kept like my laptop here. I usually keep that on the go or in the car.
Right.
And then my desktop, I actually just kept it at work. Just to do work. And when I came home, I had no computer.
I've been upgraded on my work laptop, and so that is my only computer that I ever use. And but I would like to be able to do this podcast on my own equipment, so I don't actually have to use work stuff for personal stuff. I'm allowed to. They know I'm doing it. I'm not like breaking any rules, but at the same time, I feel like I shouldn't be doing that.
A little bit of separation of church and state there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think I was informed when I told my IT department that I'm, I do a podcast for work, and I told them, hey, I'm going to also do my own personal podcast using the same equipment. Is that okay? And they're like, yep, sure, no problem. Just one thing, you might want to read our computer use agreement. Because technically any thing you create on Crutchfield computer, we own it. We own it. Right? It's ours. I said, so you mean the $15 that I've earned with my podcast is technically it's yours? They're like, yeah, if we wanted it, we could ask for it. We're not, but we could. So yeah, I'm thinking I should, before this thing goes big time, I need to get my own computer.
And what I'm realizing is, though, that computers can last a long, long time.
Longer than they used to last, right?
My main computer, this laptop here, because it has an Ethernet port, which is very rare these days, is 10 years old, or 11.
So,
it's an old MacBook Pro. And, I've replaced the battery a couple times, throw an SSD in there, and 16 gigs of RAM, and it's as happy as it can be.
So would you say that's, obviously that's true of Macs. You're not the only person to tell me that. Is this also true of PCs? Because...
Yeah. Like all my friends and I, we built PCs freshman year of college. So that was 2012. I know of at least 5 of them that they are still used as daily drivers.
Wow.
Because, again, you just throw in a new graphics card, maybe... and an SSD.
The last PC I personally purchased, I was doing video editing. I was doing stuff for like weddings and things like that. This was way back in like early to mid 2000s. So everything was standard definition. Nothing was high def. I was recording on
a lot of Firewire,
from my mini DV camcorder into my my desktop computer, which was primo at the time, but I did not keep it up to date to get into anything with high def. Like it was.
And like 4 years later, it's obsolete.
Yeah, done. Like there's no way to upgrade that one anymore.
Churned and burned basically until like 2011.
So things changed. So since the last time I bought a computer, they've sort of changed the goal here.
Really came out with that i3, i5, i7. It's been pretty steady.
Yeah.
The only things that have really improved, not much in the way of speed, but a lot in the way of efficiency. So like my big tower from 2012 will make the lights dim when it turns on.
Yeah.
It does everything that a normal computer will do. If I built a new one to the same specs, it would just use like a quarter of the power.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But it's still a functional computer. And look, I spent $3,000 on that. I'm going to get every penny I can out of that dang computer.
Yeah, I was looking at what it would take to get a similar computer to the power I have in this thing. It's got an i7 Pro chip in it. I mean, this thing is lightning fast at everything I ask it to do. And
probably 1,500, honestly.
Yeah, and unless I wanted it in a laptop, and then it's significantly more.
Yeah, but if you were to build a desktop, like if you went up to Micro Center,
yeah,
you could and take a look at their open box deals at Micro Center.
So,
cool, they've got some great.
Yeah, that's where I need to go. The only place I've looked is I just went to Dell.com and saw what it would cost to get it straight from them, and boy, that's not cheap.
If you can put a Lego set together, you can build a PC.
Yeah.
They are so easy these days to put together. The most difficult thing out of every PC I've ever put together is putting the heat sink fan on the CPU. And that's just a little bit of finagling.
Right.
But if you can work with your Harley, you can totally build a PC. And it'll probably just take you a couple hours.
Interesting. I hadn't even considered building my own, but I know that that's a thing. I've just never thought about doing it. But
it's significantly cheaper building your own, and plus you take a little bit of pride into it.
Yeah, well, it's It's kind of like what we tell customers at work. Like when we talk about, yes, you can install your stereo, we'll help you, but doing it yourself, there's a lot of benefit there. You know your car better. You can troubleshoot your own work better. You're happier. You're proud of the job you did, all of that stuff, right? And it's a thing. But yeah, I just need a taste of my own medicine when it comes to computers, apparently.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to reach out for help. Like if you want, some generative advice, just shoot me a message. And I can probably direct you in the right way. The hardest thing right now, because of supply chain issues, is getting a graphics card.
Oh yeah, no, it took a while to get this computer throughout the pandemic. It took many months.
Chipsets, a lot of like processors these days have kind of half decent built-in GPUs, which might be more than fine for video editing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's sweet. On this thing, I can obviously do audio recording. I do 4K video editing on Adobe Premiere. Like it's fun stuff. Excuse me.
Bless you.
I burp right in my podcast. I'm not even going to edit that out at all.
Perfect.
So we're going to do one last thing. I'm not going to keep you much longer because you're clearly doing some fun work right there. But
it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. My podcast is called 3 Things with JR, and when I surprise people like this, I do put them on the spot. So we're going to see what you come up with. The 3 things that I try to convey in each episode of my podcast, and what I'm going to ask you to come up with. The first one, thing number 1, tell me something deep, a deep thought you've had, something revelatory, anything at all. It could be an epiphany you've had recently, anything like that you're willing to share with us.
I need a hobby.
That's good. Let's talk about that. Why do you need a hobby?
Because AV work is what I love. It's genuinely what I love, and you've seen me at Alamo. I truly love it.
Your love of AV stuff is exudes from you. I mean, like the excitement you had at just explaining to me when I first met you that we can do this. I'll take the projector apart. We'll show you all that. I'm like, oh my god, this is the guy I've been looking for. And the fact that you have parlayed that into a pretty cool job after all Alamo is but that's not your hobby. That's like your main thing.
That's my main thing, and so I started cat sitting for my aunt 3 weeks ago, and so it's the first time I really moved out on my own from my parents' place, and I realized that like when I get home, I'm like, what do? I'm used to just going to bed, but now that I've got days off and I'm kind of by myself, I'm like, I need a true hobby. There's only so much scotch you can go through. And that's more fun after 10 p.m.
Right.
But at 3 o'clock on a Sunday, I mean, what do you do? So I need to find a hobby.
Have you been thinking about this long? Are there any hobbies you've been considering but haven't tried, dipped your toes in yet? Like, where are you? Photography, yeah.
I've always wanted to get into film photography. It's just I don't know where to start, and there goes my low battery notification. But don't worry, I've got 20%. I'm fine.
All right, cool.
But no, I've really wanted to start, taking nice pictures, and these phones today take phenomenal pictures.
Sure, yeah.
But I don't know. I kind of want just something. I want to play around with actual like 35 millimeter film.
Yeah,
just because I'm an AV geek. I'm a film guy from the movie side, and I never really got into photography much. And I don't know. So I'm going to try it out on. I'm going to Las Vegas mid-June with some friends to our bachelor party.
Okay.
So because we finally all got our shots.
Yeah.
And
it's too bad you're going to Vegas because there's nothing really there to take pictures of.
Nothing at all.
Nothing. That was dry sarcasm in case anybody missed it.
Oh yeah. So yeah, no, I mean Vegas I think is a good opportunity to sort of like find like go to a thrift store, find a camera, find some lenses, get some film, and just try it out.
Yeah, man, that could be a very involved hobby, right? I mean, there's a lot of There's a lot to know. There's a lot of gear. There's a lot of money to spend. Although film stuff is,
it's a rabbit hole.
yeah. But that could serve your purposes of having something to do when you're not doing your main thing.
Yeah. And it's close enough to the main thing.
Right. Yeah. It's main thing adjacent. And think of all of the wonderful pictures you're going to be able to give to your aunt when she comes back of her cats.
I've been sending them to her daily.
There you go. All right, cool. That's beautiful. I Need a Hobby is a perfect example. That's perfect. Thing number 2. Tell me about something that's inspiring you right now. And usually this is like a movie or some songs or a band or a book or a painting or some sort of art thing. Anything in that world that is, it's on your mind a lot. You can't stop thinking about it. You watch it, listen to it, whatever recently, and it's inspiring you in some way, shape, or form.
Does it have to be a thing, or can it be a person?
It could be anything you want. I'm just giving you what I usually do, but you can take this any direction you want.
I'm going to say my little brother.
What's inspiring about him?
He ticked all the right boxes. He went through college. He got a job. And now he applied and got accepted to for a lease in Washington State, in Seattle. And I'm proud of him. He's moving out before I am. And I think, he did all the right things. He didn't get into a lot of debt. He ticked all the boxes, and I think he's going to have a great time on the Pacific Coast.
How much younger than you is he?
He's 3 years younger than I am.
Which makes him, I forget, you're young, early 20s, mid 20s?
Yeah. I'm 27.
Okay, so he's 24?
Yep.
And he seems to be on the right track, and you say he did it right, as opposed to, did you do it wrong?
I wouldn't say I did it wrong. I would say I did it in my own convoluted, backwards way.
Yeah.
As I usually do. I usually fall ass backwards into things.
Because if I remember correctly, and I don't remember all the details, you did not go to school to become an AV nerd. You went to school for something completely different.
Nursing.
And you parlayed that into
IT. Then it's really now business.
Yeah. So. And so, what is he going to do? What's his field of expertise?
I'm not sure, and I think it's kind of sad that I don't know. But the way that he seems to really be moving on with his life in the right track, I'm genuinely proud of him.
Well, that's awesome. Your parents clearly did something right to have the two of you. I mean, we've only actually spent 5 or 6 hours together, maybe ever, right?
Weirdly.
Oddly enough, but I consider you a friend. I look forward to anything you put on Facebook. I like every time we talk, I just feel like I want to hang out more. We've almost crossed paths in Vegas a couple times. I'm sorry we missed it.
Almost.
Yes.
Almost.
So close.
Like, what, 2 days?
Yeah. So yeah, man, if we ever get the chance, we need to hang out, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, your parents clearly raised you guys right. Are there any other siblings? Is there a black sheep in the family?
I'm the middle child. I am the black sheep.
Oh, you are.
My older brother is 29, so he's 2 years older than I am. And he just had a really good interview today for a promotion, so I'm hoping he gets it. He works at Gartner, who does a lot of data analytics and stuff like that.
Yeah, you guys are smart people. Or were your parents geniuses or what? Yeah,
the whole Kurtzky family is full of savants. We'll put it that way.
Yeah.
My grandfather was a neurologist and epidemiologist. Did most of his life's work on MS.
Wow.
My Uncle Bob is a neurologist currently at Fairfax Hospital. My father is a very gifted writer. That whole side of the family is full of fantastic people. My grandmother was a chemist for Pfizer.
No kidding.
After World War II.
I've heard of that company.
Yeah, some little tiny company.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, and my other grandpa was, an Air Force navigator, and just brilliant people all around. And my mother's a wonderful special education teacher. She puts all of her heart into her work, and she's brilliant.
And she worked with like kids in high school, younger than high school.
She started out in middle school, and now she's with elementary school students.
Was she what you would call a para, like a paraprofessional? I asked because that's what my mom was. She just recently retired, but that's what she was for about the last 20 years, is working with the kids that need a little bit of extra help in public schools in Falls Church City.
Yeah, I would put her in there. And she's also a sneaky CIA, FBI agent. You can't get anything past her.
Yeah.
she.
Your mom and my mom sound very similar.
Yeah. And my father just retired this past year.
Would you say he was a gifted writer?
Very gifted writer.
Novels, books, science stuff. What does he write?
He was a speech writer for why am I blanking on it? Freddie Mac, another small little company.
Oh yeah.
And then he, after the 2008 funness, he went to CSBS. It's a firm in DC.
Okay. So he writes stuff that I wouldn't even understand in any way, shape, or form then.
A lot of PR.
Yeah.
But he's very gifted and really loves baseball. And I know he cannot wait to get back to the stadium.
The Nat Stadium?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, right on. Me too.
Yeah. Because the last game he attended was the World Series.
Oh, no kidding.
That's a good way to go out.
Yeah. Maybe
that game, but that's a fantastic way to go out.
Yeah, that's a weird World Series to have lost every home game and to win all the away games.
Home game.
Like no,
I just remember exactly where I was when I heard all, because I was listening to the radio because I love Charlie and Dave.
Oh yeah.
And I just remember just I was in my car outside my house, just sort of breathing.
Yeah.
Because it was the very, very last out for that game where they won it all. And I can look down my street and every TV is on. But I'm on AM radio. I get 30 seconds ahead. So when I hear the call that they won, I come storming into the house and I see my dad just standing in front of the TV.
Oh my God.
Just like nervous as all can be. And I'm like, I know that they win. I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to hide off into the side here for a few seconds.
Oh, see.
And then you just heard everyone like head blow up when they caught that.
Were you thinking enough to get out your phone and record that because you know what's coming and this is the moment it's going to happen and you can record that?
Nope.
No?
Nope. I kind of wish I was at work. We broadcasted the games.
At the draft house?
Yeah, in the theaters.
Yeah.
And can you imagine a theater full of people?
That would have been nuts. The cleanup job afterwards would have been insane.
Would have been absolute nuts.
Yeah. Dude, well, that's great, man. You nailed it on thing number 2. Thing number 3 is the easiest one, or the hardest one. It depends. Just tell me something stupid.
Dolphins are assholes.
That is exactly as simple as it can be right there. Dolphins are assholes. Do you have any evidence to support this notion?
Yes, I do.
Are you allowed to talk about it? Oh. So what Michael is showing me, there's no video on this podcast, so I'm just going to describe what I'm seeing. He's flipped his camera around a couple times to show me the pretty sweet setup in this unnamed U.S. Writers home theater room, and there's a screensaver on the TV right now, and it is Dolphins. But they look nice. I don't see them being assholes at all.
No, I was just thinking about it. You said stupid, so...
There you go. Dude, is there anything you have said on this podcast that you want me to edit out? I'm happy to do that. I can't think of anything obvious. You didn't reveal the name of the person you are installing stuff for, so we don't need to. Can we mention that you're installing for some fighter? Is that okay?
It's for some, probably not. I wouldn't even say fighter. I would probably say some client in the Middleburg area.
Got it.
So, a sport affiliation.
I'll get crafty with the editing to
Get crafty with it.
Yeah.
Get crafty.
Dude, thanks for taking time to talk to me, man.
No, thanks for the random call. I loved it.
I'm just glad you answered.
All right, JR. Thanks a lot.
Take care, Michael. Have a good one, man.
Hey, have a good one. Yeah.
So, did you find Michael Kurtzky as fun as I did? Are you going to meet us for drinks sometime in downtown Charlottesville or up in the D.C. area when we get together and hang out? Because I'm really looking forward to that and getting to actually hang out with Michael in person. I haven't seen him now in a few years, and I really hope we get together and get to shoot the shit and have some fun. And maybe then I'll get to find out the name of the person at which he is installing a badass home theater system with a bunch of video game consoles. That's what he was doing while I was talking to him tonight, and it was pretty cool. I got to see, like, he flipped his camera around so I could see sort of what all he was installing and working on, and yeah, pretty cool stuff. So that's it. That's the show. Thank you so much for listening. Tell your friends, share this thing out, write a review, give it 5 stars, and I would love for more people to know about the 3 things with JR. Thank you for listening. I love you. Over and out. See you next time. Goodbye. It's a brand new day.